Yo, what's happening everybody, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Fossil Cup video. Today I'm going to be showcasing another strong team in this cup, which consists of Pelipper Double Steel. It's a pretty popular line. I think it was an FP6 team from a few seasons ago, which of course in the Open Great League would be with Stunfisk. On this team we're running Ferrothorn, which is just super powerful in this cup. As I mentioned yesterday, Ferrothorn is the king of this cup, and that is true. However, I'm expecting people to be running counters to Ferrothorn in the lead. I've uploaded a video, Human Catcher Bugs uploaded a video showcasing Ferrothorn Double Mudboy, and I showcased Ferrothorn Jellicent and Pelipper, which of course is Ferrothorn and two answers to counter, right? And I even suggested you might use Galissapod or even a Mudboy instead of Pelipper to try and leave yourself less soft to Registeel in that video. So Ferrothorn is a very popular lead, and it's pretty much the most common lead that you're going to see in this cup. So what I was anticipating is that people will be using S-Cavalier, and I was anticipating that Lantern leads would pretty much go away because they're getting hard countered on the lead. So any Lanterns that I'm likely to see are most likely going to be in the back, and that turned out to be the case today. I got a ton of good leads with this team. Overall, I played 15 matches. I disconnected from one of them, which was an automatic loss. So let's say 14 games. I won 9 out of 14, and I actually severely misplayed a couple of matches where I should have won. Realistically, I should have won about 13 of those 15 matches, so this is a very strong team at the moment. As you've seen in this game, I got a Ferrothorn lead. Now, Pelipper only beats Ferrothorn in the 2-shield if you land 2 baits, so I was going for the Weller Bowl. Unfortunately, the opponent called it. They do live a Hurricane, but it's only on very low health, and it allows you to get a farm down. Ferrothorn generally is very good against Pelipper, like I said, unless they double shield it, which as you've seen did not happen in that case. Now, I realised because they were staying in with my Ferrothorn for quite a while, that they must be weak to it in the back, and as you can see here, this team is double weak to Ferrothorn in the back. This is pretty much my team from yesterday, except for it's got Galissapod, which I think is better than Pelipper in this team. Since the opponent stayed in, I decided to preserve some health on Ferrothorn, realising that I probably made a mistake, but I was anticipating that Reggie would be able to sweep nonetheless. But I was just thinking, what if there's a Lantern in the back? You know, so I was kind of double guessing, and of course I was just learning this team today. We're going to get off a last second Thunder here. We actually do get to this one at the same time as the Power Whip on this occasion, which will look to one-shot the Galissapod. I definitely played the first match very unoptimally, but pretty much, like, this is a team that Registeel just beats the entire team, more or less. So it worked out very easy for me. Now we get a Gyarados lead. I've got 2 very good answers to it in the back. I do always like to get a wing attack through, so I do a wing attack, go into Reggie, and in comes S-Cavalier. Now Registeel is amazing on the swap if you get ahead by a couple of lock-ons, because as you're about to see here, we can threaten to do like 80% of this thing's health. They do not want to let that happen, so they go on ahead and shield it. And if the opponent's a little bit too slow with the swap, you can get off the Zap Cannon before they get off any moves, and that will of course debuff them. Now I was very tempted to shield this, but I do let it go, and I decide to come in and get a farm with Pelipper. The worst thing they can throw at me here is like a Mega Horn, which will do like half of my health, but the opponent is going in for Acid Spray. Now I do want to make the most out of this and get a good overfarm, so we're going to look to do that. The opponent's going to fire off what I'm thinking is a Drill Run, but they do go for another Acid Spray, trying to debuff me even further. These counters are really starting to add up. Flying Toilets do not take punches very well, ladies and gents, and we're going to go ahead and take out the S-Cav. I'm expecting the Gyarados to come back in, and I'm going to swap straight in, but it actually ended up being the Lantern, so we swap into our Ferrothorn. And I can see that Ferrothorn is going to sweep this match, and this is why Ferrothorn is so powerful in the back. Like I said, people are sort of more weak in the back to Ferrothorn now. They're keeping their Lanterns and stuff in the back, so just having this here is amazing. Now, I think this is going to be the crunch. The opponent could go for a bait, but I don't think it's going to work out for them. They do YOLO the crunch, of course, and it takes them 15 turns to get to it. It takes us 12 turns each time for the Power Whip. That works out perfectly for me, and at this point, this this Lantern is not going to quite get one shot, but they're not going to be able to do enough damage to us. And I think we still have some energy on the Flying Toilet, so I'm going to fire off this Power Whip. This is like kind of close, it's kind of awkward, but as you can see, boom, that comes very close to taking them out. I do decide to swap out. I could have probably went for the Hurricane here, but I just wanted to make sure that I was ahead in energy on the other thing, and that this thing couldn't farm me down. Of course, even though this is resisted, Pelipper hits like a truck, and that's a good game. So yeah, that's what I started seeing today quite a lot of Lanterns and waters in the back. Of course, I was also anticipating seeing the Double Mudboy team, so that was something I was keeping into consideration. Now this person is running a Lantern in the lead, and we're going to swap this in. Now as you're about to see here, we're pretty much getting hard countered in the lead, and hard countered in the swap. So we're going to see how we win this. Well, getting a Great does not help, so we actually get less damage on that move because the game lagged. Now, what you need to do in this situation, again, this is my first time playing this team, so I didn't really think about it. You need to take switch advantage here. And as you can see, after landing that move, you could definitely 1000% lock on it down before they could counter you down. So that's mistake number 1 right here, and back in comes Pelipper. So pretty much what I'm hoping for is, like, please don't be double counter. If it's double counter, I just lose. They YOLO the Mega Horn, which would do like 50%. So I'm thinking if it's double counter, I might want to keep my Pelipper alive. But then, like, how do we deal with this thing anyway? It does turn out to be Fairphone in the back. So the opponent maybe has realised that Fairphone is very strong in the back as well. Now, I don't think I should have shielded that move. That was probably mistake number 2 here. And we're going to see what the opponent does. I've seen a lot of these running Flash Cannon, and this is no exception. Now, mistake number 3 is not knowing the counts on Flash Cannon. I know the counts now, it's 6-5 every time, and you get to the Thunder in 5-5-4. So you do outpace to the Thunders, but the Flash Cannons hit like a truck. So, mistake number 3, not knowing the counts of Flash Cannon. Because if I did, I could have maybe looked to catch a Flash Cannon on my Pelipper. So I'm pretty much just playing a guessing game here. When are they going to throw like a Flash Cannon? I know it takes longer than the Thunder, that's about it. The opponent goes for an overfarm, and basically at this point the match is over. So how could I have won this match? I think the key thing here is taking Switch against the SCAV. It's not that often that the opponent will let you just land a Focus Blast, but in this occasion the opponent did, and pretty unfortunate there. I could have lock-oned it down, and definitely taken that match. Because at that point, I have Registeel and Fairthorn, and I have Fairthorn and Lantern. That's a straight win for me. So there you go. I wanted to show this match, you know, just to kind of show you, like, you know, I did get some pretty bad games, but you can overcome them if certain things play out the correct way. Pelipper versus Golisopod, amazing lead. And let's see what the opponent decides to do. They're staying in here for a second, so I'm thinking, are you just triple weak to me? I decide I want to go for the Sweller Ball. I'm pretty much looking to chip it and farm it down, if the opponent allows me to. And the opponent swaps out with energy. So what I'm going to do here is just load up as much as possible, catch the Power Whip on Big Reggie, and we're going to look to go for a Focus Blast, and then look to go for maybe a bit of an undercharge. I'm still working on my undercharge for this Pokemon, so we'll see how we go here. I'm expecting the opponent here just to basically throw off this last Thunder. I'm very bad at CMPing these Fairthorns. I sort of use the animation as a guide, and yeah, the animation is a little bit, like, not what I expected to be. The opponent shields it, so I'm like, right, well, I don't really need to undercharge this anymore. I'm just going to overfarm and pretty much look to take this thing out. I'm happy enough with this situation. They double shield it, so I'm like, right, you must be super weak to this thing. I said, you know, I'm not going to shield it anyway, because, you know, why would I? I've got 2 shields for Pelipper and this, so I decide I'm going to keep a little bit of health on this, and basically look to come in with this, right? They can't really come back in with Golisopod. They do come in with Golisopod. I was reading that at this point, there has to be a Jellicent in the back. It's the only thing that really makes sense with their gameplay here. Pelipper beats Jellicent in every even shielding scenario, so that's really what made sense to me. And if it does happen to be like a counter user, which I don't see why it would be, they would have just probably came into it. You know, we should be in a very good position here. We take this thing out, we do outpace to the moves, and we're up a shield, and let's see what the opponent comes in with. Back in comes the Fairthorn. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to try to hold on to this. I still have a shield. I probably, like, shouldn't have been dancing around with the Reggie. I probably should have just played, like, straight alignment here. But I wanted to keep this for potential sacrifice, and I would have been able to get off another Focus Blast, I think. Of course, Bullet Seeds don't do that much. In the beginning of the match, I was reading that they were weak to Pelipper, because, of course, they, like, were staying in with Golisopod for a minute to try and get off a move and things like that, which is kind of weird, taking the wing attack damage. So at the start, I wasn't expecting there to be a Lantern in the back. And they safe swap in Fairthorn, which, like, is a pretty decent answer to Pelipper, of course. So I was a little bit unsure of what they had in the back, to be completely honest with you, until maybe later on in the match, where I started seeing them, of course, double shielding it. So it looked like they were super weak to Fairthorn, and at that point I do decide to save the Fairthorn. So I guess it was just like a little bit of dancing around trying to read the team. I mean, hindsight's 2020, and of course, like I said, I'm still kind of learning the meta on here. I was expecting this to be a Power Whip. I decided to respect it anyway. And yeah, it is a Power Whip. We're going to get off this next move first, and that's a good game. The opponent sees the writing on the wall, and as I like to say, they smash their phone off the wall, and that's a good game. So definitely, I probably made that a little bit more awkward. Maybe I could have read the team a little bit better. Maybe it was obvious from the beginning that there was a Lantern in the back. Fairthorn is like a sort of somewhat good answer to that. And of course, with a Golisopod lead, you would need 2 answers to flying, so that definitely makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Escavalier lead, amazing lead. We just go straight Water Ball in this thing, and I thought it was an amazing lead, but the game crashes, and yeah, GG's to the opponent. I came back in here, they had a Jellicent, I think. Yep, Pelipper versus Pelipper here. A pretty neutral lead. I would say it's a pretty neutral lead overall. What we're going to do in this matchup is catching Reggie. I made a risky catch. I wanted to try and catch before so I can get some lock-ons for him. That's super risky, because if the opponent holds onto their energy, that's good luck. In comes this. So I'm thinking, are you a Pelipper double steal guy? Because we've seen one steal. This thing is kind of interesting. Like, we guarantee shields off this thing, which is nice. I kind of was expecting the opponent to go for a Fell Stinger on the next one, which would have allowed me to get off another Focus Blast. So we're just going to let this next move go. I'm expecting this just to be the Fell Stinger farm down, but the opponent is an absolute mad lad and YOLO's the Wild Charge. Now at this point they're quadruple debuffed. I've got almost 2 Water Balls loaded, so if they shield this up once, they're going to have to shield it twice, and they do let it go. Now we'll see what the opponent comes in with. They come in with a Fairthorn. Now at this point, I'm thinking I might have to go for Catch here, because Fairthorn is quite good against Pelipper, especially up a shield. And we're going to fire off the first Power Whip, and by the time we get off the next one, we're going to have them farmed into like 50% health, which at that point, we're just in a super dominant position. They're barely not in the yellow here, but I think after this next couple here, and they go for the Hurricane as well, so they give me license to go for a slight overfarm here as well. I know this will definitely take out at this range. Now we've got a shield, a Pelipper with almost a Hurricane loaded, and Fairthorn versus Fairthorn. The opponent clearly is an enthusiast, a Fairthorn enthusiast, because they're staying in here. We've got a Hurricane loaded, we're ahead on energy, and we're up a shield. The opponent has not yet seen the writing on the wall, but I assure you, as we speak, there is somebody in their house putting the writing on the wall. They are writing something on the wall right now. We win CMP as well, just to really make things worse for the opponent. Has the opponent seen the writing on the wall yet? Let's find out. Now the opponent, I think they're going to go for a pretty insane play here. The opponent's going to go for the undercharge, but we come in, we snipe with the Hurricane. And ladies and gents, the opponent just turned around, seen the writing on the wall, said, "What the f are you doing in my house?" And that's a good game. I haven't really showcased much of the losses here, but most of the games that I lost were either like the game that I did show, with the Lantern lead, or like a double counter backline was one of them, which was kind of rough to deal with. There was one game where I was winning, and of course I just completely misplayed. The worst example, which I will not show you because it was embarrassingly bad, was a case where I had landed a Focus Blast on SCAV, and I had Fairthorn versus their Lantern. We each had one shield, and they had a Lantern, I had a Fairthorn. They threw a Thunderbolt. I did not shield it, even though the SCAV was super low. So I'm pretty much allowing them to counter me down. They swap in. I end up throwing a move, even though they've got a shield. It was embarrassing bad, so I'm not going to show that one. But just rest assured that the losses that I did take was either just like super RPS, me being an absolute bot, which is not even worth learning from, or me disconnecting from the match, as you've seen earlier. Now, I draw out this Quagsire, which is quite nice here, and the amazing thing about Reggie here is you do draw a shield, which you love to see. So at this point we let this go, and instead of coming in with Fairthorn, I decide to come in with this thing. They think, like, why are you not coming into your grass type against this? I'm expecting this to be double Mud Boy. And what we're going to do is YOLO the Hurricane. It actually turns out to be Pelipper. Now the opponent's anticipating that we're going to go for the Weather Ball bait. Nope. We're going to go for the Weather Ball this time though, because it's enough to take them out. And at this stage, once again, there's going to be somebody in their house writing on the wall. We're going to come in with this Fairthorn right here, just say hello with it. Actually, we're going to eat this Stone Age first, just to absolutely make sure, because Mud Bombs do add up. We CMP in the Weather Ball. The opponent can't really shield it because they don't know what we've got in the back yet, and they are about to find out. That's a good game. You love a good RPS here. You know, guys, the moral of the story is win lead, win game. If you just win lead, guys, all you have to do is win lead. Like, it's so easy. You just win lead. The opponent gives up here because, of course, there's not really much they can do, and that's a good game, well played. So, like I said, I think just generally today, like, Pelipper lead was working super well. We had 2 free 2s and a 4-1 with this team, I believe. So yeah, in comes this thing. Yeah, we're going to look to basically catch the move on this. That's what I like to do in this situation. If the opponent swaps out, just build up as much energy as possible, come into your, of course, Registeel, and basically look to take an advantage in that way. And then even at that point, go for an undercharge, and make sure that you're going to get off a move on the Escavalier or whatever the counter user is in the front, and, you know, try to sort of play it that way. Once again, like, you don't really expect the opponent to be shielding here. I go for a great undercharge, which seems to be quite decent. I probably could have undercharged that slightly more, got a little bit more farm, and just made sure I was getting off the move for sure. Because the opponent, I think, can maybe look to get off a move. No, this is perfectly fine. So it seems to be like somewhere between nice and great is a good undercharge, depending on what their health is there. But you can see how much damage I've done, and if you have an attack weighted Registeel, you can adjust that accordingly. Now in comes the Lantern, in comes Fairthorn. Win lead, win game, which, you know, amazing video. Guys, just win lead, like, that's all you have to do. But these are the games I played, and like I said, you know, I've sort of explained the losses to you. Now this is a pretty good lead as well. I am anticipating this to be double counter in the back. If the opponent makes a huge misplay, they stay in for way too long. At this point we're getting off Zap Cannon number 1, and if I really wanted to, I could just shield and like get off 2 moves and get both of their shields, boom. The opponent lets it go as well, so I'm like, okay, no worries buddy. They can go for a drill run here if they want, but with the debuff, they're not even going to take us out with it, and I think I actually might be able to lock on this down, which is insane. Lock on it down? No, I don't think I was going to be able to, so I just decide I'm going to take switch advantage here. Both of my Pokemon beat this thing anyway, but of course, you would prefer to have Ferrothorn in this thing, and of course you would want your Pelipper on the other counter user if it's in the back. Surf coming through, they go for the undercharge because they were on so much energy, they sort of had to throw a move. In comes Ferrothorn, in comes Lucario, win lead, win game. That's a good game. So Pelipper beats Jellicent in every even shielding scenario, so I didn't even need to swap out. But one mistake that I could have made there, you know, I'm saying win lead, win game, right? But you're like, oh, I beat this in every shielding scenario. I made a team read and it turned out to be correct. And, you know, with an APB style team, you know, just because you can win a lead doesn't mean you should stay in. In my opinion, the best lead you can possibly get is an Ice Cavalier or a Quagsire, because you know that you can stay in against those and they're not going to see your backline if you play correctly. So like a Jellicent lead is a good lead, of course, but like you would prefer to have your Pelipper on the Lucario and Escav in the back. So that's what I decided to do. Winning lead doesn't always mean winning a game, and you know, I have lost lead in one game quite a lot, and you're seeing from earlier, the opponent won lead, but they ended up letting the focus boss go, so if I played that correctly, they would have lost game. So winning lead doesn't always mean winning game, but in the Fossil Cup, to be fair, it's such an RPS meta that it kind of is that way, as long as you don't completely throw the match, which of course I do like doing sometimes. Now, let's hop into the next one. What have we got here? Quagsire lead, again, like this is the best lead you can possibly see in my opinion. It's like, okay, we're not seeing a Quagsire in the back. So, I mean, like we do have two answers to this thing. And at this point, I did decide I want to catch a move on Registeel. Again, I want to just double check for something in the back, just to make sure that, you know, they don't have like a counter user hiding back there. That's going to wreck my backline. And there it is another counter user. So once again, like, Quagsire lead, like, I don't want that on my Registeel, but I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to use my Registeel to draw out like a harder counter to it. If the opponent's staying in with Pelipper on their Quagsire, which is generally a pretty negative matchup, unless they land a Stone Edge, you sort of do have to predict that they have like a counter user in the back. In comes this thing, we're going to commit to the farm down, the opponent does knock it off another move. Now at this stage, all I need to do here is just get shields off the opponent, and I think I should be in a good spot. Yeah, in comes Quagsire. We're going to YOLO the Hurricane here, because if they shield it, I'll just go 2 shields with Ferrothorn, and you know, that's perfectly fine. The opponent YOLOs a move here. I think I do decide to respect this here, just in case it is double counter. We'll have a look here. It is Ferrothorn, so we're in a super dominant position here, and we even catch the move, or try to catch the move. But I think this is curtains for the opponent, folks. The opponent sees the curtains on the wall. It is curtains for them, and you know, once again, this opponent just hates life. I guess they're staying in here. They can't win this match, folks. They just can't. Like, just top left, please. I'm not going to die mid-battle, okay? My battery is full. I am not going to lose this game. Just top left. Please don't make me play this matchup. Anyway, about 6 years later, here we are. We're still playing this matchup. I swear I skipped like literally half of this clip just to get to this point. Literally that match was like half of the video. If I let it be. we take it out with Pelipper. Okay, there we go. We get a Mawile lead. We've got just an absolute man of culture here trying to farm teams down. Let me guess, Gyarados in the back, or like Ludicolo. Oh, here comes Ludicolo. Oh, here it is. Okay, so we're going to come in. We just resist all of the moves here. I decided I want to keep my Registeel because I feel like there might be a Gyarados in the back. So I decided to come into this thing, and this thing is super weak to Mawile. So pretty much like what I want to do here is get 2 moves. Get off a Thunder on the Mawile, and of course I power up on this thing. This will come very close to taking it out. We actually get the overfarm as well, which is beautiful, which leaves us sitting on a Thunder. A little bit of risky play here, I'm overfarming. No need to throw in good timing there, just get off the move. Farfang's rip through this thing, and yeah, the opponent just lets it go for some reason. I guess they know we've got Pelipper, and they didn't get a ton of farm off that as well, so I'm just going to throw this off before they even think about getting to a move. They can't really shield this, to be fair. And what I'll have in the back, it is an Escavalier. At this point, we're just going to try and get both shields off the opponent. We're going to go for the Weather Ball, and then we're going to YOLO the Hurricane. I'll see if they want to let it go, because I mean, like, there's just not really that much I can do, is there? I probably could have just went for Weather Ball, but it doesn't really matter. One move from this thing will take it out. We just double shield. Even if they Acid Spray, they can't outpace us here or counter us down. So it's a good game, well played. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed the team. Let me know in the comments down below how this team does for you. I'm trying to think of what the main core breakers for this team would be. Lantern double counter is pretty much as bad as it gets. However, like, as you've seen with Reggie, you're able to get a shield back, and you maybe, you know, if the opponent lets it go, you maybe can take switch. That's probably like the main core breaking team for this. But Lantern double counter is pretty uncommon now, especially after the first day where people are running a ton of Ferrothorns. So it's not something you're going to see too often. And once again, just keep an eye on the meta. It may adapt again tomorrow, and you'll have a whole new set of things to deal with. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Also, I want to ask you a quick question. After these sets, I done some Open Great League with my sweaty team, Medicham, Carbink, and Registeel. Should I upload those as well? Because like I've uploaded that team like already, and I've done a team with Trevenant, so I'm not trying to bore you guys, you know, because like I know you guys want to see different teams, but like do you guys want to see my elo grind as well on the side? Like I'll do my featured team of the day, and then do a couple of sets with my elo team. Let me know if you'd like to see that. Thank you very much everybody, and have a fantastic rest of your day.